Hey there guys, Noah here, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today I'm going to be going over a questionnaire made by DrawTheTrigger. I'll leave the link in the description below to his Twitter as well as his YouTube. So definitely go check him out, because I know for a fact Asterisk as well as Outer Orange have already made videos covering this same questionnaire, and I figure, you know what? Might as well I get it too, just because I feel like it. So, without further ado, let's dive right in. So, I'm going to be answering these questions kind of however I see fit. Let's see how this goes. So, how and when did I discover Vanguard? So, Vanguard to me, it's funny because I was like, this was back right before Pokemon XY dropped. I was in high school, and I was bored out of my mind looking through Pokemon videos, and then I saw the ad for Card Fight Vanguard, and it linked me to the first episode of the anime, and from there I was hooked. And out of all of the ways that I could have been introduced to the game, that's the way I get introduced. I think I'm one of the few people who can confidently say that. So, first Vanguard clan, Shadow Paladin. Initially, I just to learn the game, I played with Gold Paladin briefly with Liberators back before they got their good stuff, and then, you know, I messed around with a couple of different other things, but Shadow Paladin was my first clan. I should also note that if we're talking exclusively about decks that I've actually built fully, completely from scratch, it would have to be Shadow Paladin. If it's just decks in general that I've play tested via CFA, for instance, then I would also have to say Link Joker around the same time too, because Raging Form came out, I think it just came out of Japan, and they updated it on CFA, and I was playtesting that. I pretty much spent one of my spring breaks just learning how to play the deck, and yeah, it didn't take me very long to pick up that clan. So, best Vanguard boy. It's gotta be Ren. Ren. He's just so fucking chill. Best Vanguard girl though. Oh, you're killing me, Smalls. I really want to say Corin, but specifically from the original, and I'll get into that in a little bit. Why? So, favorite clan and why? Again, it's gonna be Shadow Paladin, mostly because that was the first clan I picked up, and also I ended up falling in love with it just from the aesthetic design. Like, it's just Revengers into Diablos into Luard, you know. Now again, it's come full circle now with Raging Form, which I am going to be doing a deck profile on for both V Premium and Premium, so look forward to that. But yeah, it's Shadow Paladin. Least favorite clan and why? Okay, so I have actually two least favorite clans. The first one being Angel Feather, because I suffered against Angel Feather back when Vanguard, when it was busted in G with the Nurse of Broken Heart as well as the Refrost combo, being able to effectively do a loop to a point where you could not guard it. And I think this was before G Guardians came out, so it was even more extra feels bad. And then the other deck or clan I absolutely despise with a burning passion is Bermuda. I've just had so many bad memories with it. Not necessarily Ange in particular, but more so Melody and B. And then later on Riviere, and then all the V stuff. Up until recently, I just found to be absolute BS. And even more so in Premium, because now they have this Highlander build, and it's just, especially since I'm a Chaos main, it's just not pleasant. What's my favorite format to go to? Whether it be a retro one like Break Ride or Legion, Vanguard G, Premium, or Standard, or even V Premium. He kind of worded it kind of awkwardly as like Retro, G, Premium, or Standard, so I kind of rephrased the question. Right now, my favorite format right now is Premium. The simple reason for the fact is that out of all the, like, if I had to sit there and play a format, it will be Premium. Even my locals has adapted this, which I'll get to in a little bit, but my locals has pretty much kind of just said, screw D, we're going to play V and Premium, because it's a lot fun. It's a lot more fun, and I have to agree. Premium is definitely way better, especially now with the ban list. Like, man, they fixed a lot of the broken shit, but there's still one or two bad things. But honestly, it's still good. Favorite Vanguard ship? Ooh, okay. Now this one's gonna be a good one. Aichi X Corin, specifically for the original series. Now, this one was a heart wrencher for me personally when I first watched this way back in 2013 or 2014. I saw the development with, Corin and Aichi. I'm pretty sure it was one of the ultra rare girls. I forget who, but he stumbled into Side Shop, faced off against Corin the first time back then. Eventually, it led to a kind of like an interesting relationship and dynamic between the two of them where, she was more or less helping test his skills and stuff, and to a point where he became the card fighter that he always wanted to be. And then they ended up meeting up at high school. Like, she ended up going to his high school after Dakuda was like, yo, y'all people gotta freaking live a normal life, so go get a life. And she was trying to do so because she technically had lost her memories prior to meeting Aichi or even the other members of Ultra Rare, because Takudo just legit, like, snatched the 3 girls from Ultra Rare and said, hey, you work for me now, and wiped their memories of their past. And Season 3 and 4 hit me hard because she lost her memory with Aichi technically twice in the original. So the first time was... And the worst part is about all of this is that if it wasn't for Link Joker, I think those two would have been a couple. And you can't sit there and make the argument. Like, hell, she was trying to keep Aichi from, like, going to face Takuda because she wanted to preserve the memories that she had. Even Misaki, like, noting this later on into that same episode. But it was just like... and it made it even worse by the fact that Season 4 kind of just sat there and said, hey, Aichi is kind of still around, but he's got the Link Joker STD going on here. And you're sharing the bitch with him. And after that shenanigans, she lost her memory a second time. And again, Link Joker, if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for the events of Link Joker, those two would have been a couple, and y'all cannot tell me otherwise. Favorite opponent. Okay, so this one is actually going to be kind of difficult. Because... Oh my god, I can't believe I have to... Alright, okay, so... Favorite opponent. This is going to be quite a lengthy one, so... Grab the popcorn. So... Back whenever I first started to learn how to play the game, I had one person in particular... on Cardfight Area that I always used to play against, mostly because we used to roleplay the shit out of it, and, not that the server was making things any better, because they were going along with the roleplay, pretty much, back when, the Link Joker arc and the reverse shit was going on. And so we were roleplaying the fuck out of it. I was playing Shadow Pound, he was playing Gold Paladin, and it was kind of like a Aichi and Ren dynamic between both of us. It eventually got to a point where my first ever Springfest that I ever went to, I ended up having to face him. And I kind of just used the same chant that we used to do when we like stand up, and then whatever Vanguard. And he picked up on that and he was like, wait, Shadow? And yeah, it's just like, it was funny that I went full circle with that. And if you had asked me before I met Mirror Card Neko, like IRL, and got her into the game, that would have been my answer. But Mirror Card Neko, I got her introduced into the game back at the beginning of V. And I legit sat there, I taught her the rules, I played Kagero, I let her borrow my Royal Paladin deck. She lost the first game, and then she absolutely smacked everybody at my locals back then. I don't think she lost a single game. Like, she had to be kind of, like, assisted throughout the course of it. But, just to get familiar with the rules and stuff. But she developed from that point onward. Her first clan would end up becoming Pale Moon. And, yeah, it just... she eventually got to a point when I taught her all the other formats and stuff that she ended up adapting her own play style and getting to a point where it felt good. And she was always like, she didn't necessarily care about whether enough stuff was meta or not, and she was the only person I know who would actually legitimately play against my Chaos deck, because she would know that, hey, Chaos is one of his favorites. I don't mind even if it's a scumbaggy deck, you know, stuff like that. And I'll go into more on that in a little bit. But yeah, I'm actually going to swap questions 12 and 11 to finish off this whole thing. So really, at the end of the day, my favorite Vanguard memory was teaching Mirakarneko how to play the game, and get her to a point where she ended up topping at an event long before I ever could. I think her first top was at this random event in New Jersey way back when. I think Team Greylock was heavily involved with that. Do not quote me on it. I had to go back and look at the stream, but she was playing Neo Nectar, you know, and she made top 8. That was pretty freaking lit. And then recently, we discussed, there's a video about it. I'll link it in the description below to her deck profile and everything that she did. Very lengthy, I warn you. But I was kind of prepping her to play in the premium event for Go to Phoenix Games event. And she ended up topping there. And she got to a point where she was inadvertently a better Vanguard player than I was, despite the fact that I've been playing the game much longer than her. And I still just am so amazed by that. Like, even though we're technically not together anymore, you know, she still cares about the game, you know, and she still plays it with the friends I had from up there in New Jersey and stuff, you know, and, you know, she's got her own thing going on with it, and I'm glad that I at least got to share my favorite game with someone like that, and it really does help, you know. So, moving on. Favorite Vanguard YouTubers. I've got quite a few. Big one, obviously, being Different Fight. I love all the Vanguard Zero content he produces. He explains it in a way that allows me to, like, actually prepare months in advance for the global side. It just, oh my god, his content is absolutely amazing. Also, I also do like watching his streams even late at night, you know, just to see his reaction toward news and stuff, because it's like, you know, it's hard to get that kind of experience. And then next one would probably be Vanguard Insider, although I haven't been watching some of his content lately because I've been busy. I usually go to him for news in particular. W/Slasher being a big one that I think a lot of people go for news. Solemn Vanguard, when he does his content, you know, his content is very detailed, well organized, all that. And probably my most up-and-coming favorite Vanguard YouTuber is probably Outer Orange. I actually met her at the Kingslayer Games event a while back, and we had a good time, and, you know, it's just, and I eventually joined her Discord and everything, and it was just, yeah. So those are probably my favorite Vanguard YouTubers, without question. What else do I play? It should be self-explanatory, considering that I initially had a video saying that I was going to be streaming it over on my Pokemon channel, but I love Pokemon. Like, if there was a second franchise that I was invested in, Pokemon would be it. I've been playing it since Pokemon XD Yellow Darkness on the GameCube way back in 2005, and I've fallen in love with the series ever since. And it's just, I always buy the new games. Like, hell, for Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, I bought a digital version the night that it came out, specifically for me to stream it, and then I went and bought the physical versions the next day for the dual pack and everything. And, you know, if that doesn't show you my dedication to Pokemon, I don't know what will. I just wish the community there was a lot better, because otherwise, that would probably be my #1 game, without question. Have you ever called Final Turn? This one should be dead obvious to at least a few of you. Yeah, I have called Final Turn on a handful of occasions. And not necessarily, like, it was only for when I knew I can joke around about it. You know, just to get that out there. Which Vanguard unit would you want to be? Okay, so this one's kind of a toss-up. Because I like Chaos Breaker's, or like background and story and everything, but he's kind of a dick. So I think I'm gonna have to go with Luard between both of my favorite units, which I'll get to in a minute. But Luard, I only recently started reading up on his lore, but it's just it's like the typical, like, I guess not typical, but he's just, I love his design. I love the, you know, his wanting to master drag shift, all of that. It's especially since Luard was my first deck I ever built, you know, in IRL. Yeah, definitely Luard. Which Vanguard unit would you want to hook up with? Okay, I guess this is going to be another massive thing that I'm going to be throwing out there too. Because, oof, this is about to get spicy. So, if I was going to be hooking up with a more feminine Vanguard unit, it would have to be Lukier. Lukier, she's probably the first Vanguard waifu that many people can, like, attest to, like, can actually remember. And, yeah, definitely Lukier. But if we're going for male, I'm a simp for Luard. I'm sorry. Like, he's the kind of unit that you would go buy for. I'm not even kidding. Like, yeah, definitely Luard, without question. Favorite season of the Vanguard anime? It has to be season 3 of the original. I already stated some of the reasons why I liked it. You know, just the nice interactions that were going on in between the characters. But also that this season in particular, for a while, wasn't necessarily focused on Aichi. I think it was more so, like, especially toward the middle, it was focused on all the other surrounding cast. You had the, you know, the whole Fukuhara High, you know, Ren Heavy coming in, clapped them butt cheeks against all the reverse fighters there, you know, of his teammates and his coach. Then you had Kenji Mitsusada basically trying to rebuild the Roman Empire. And then you had these random moments within the season that were just so iconic that I don't want to spoil it if you've never seen season 3. And if there was ever a reason to watch the original, go and watch it just because season 3 is that good. It is a bit lengthy early on, but it's more so for the character development. Trust me, it's very much worth it. Do you have a local card shop? Yes, I do. My local card shop is Sunshine Games in Tampa, Florida. And I have to drive about an hour to get there, but they're pretty nice and pretty chillax people, like, honestly. I usually tend to get most of my cards there, except for recently, mostly because I've just been investing here and there into certain decks and stuff, and never really, like, going too crazy with the sets. But yeah, usually I go there, and I really don't have another locals, like, near me. Like, I have to drive an hour to get there, so yeah. So that's my shop. What does Vanguard mean to you? Okay, so Vanguard was the new game I was searching for. A second game to search for outside of Pokemon. I didn't expect to get fully invested into it, though, in a traditional sense. Definitely not. But it got me thinking a lot about it. It definitely got me, like, eventually, if you ask me way back when, right? If I would ever get into Vanguard enough to the point to say that it is my favorite game to play, period, I would probably laugh at you and say, go back and play some more Pokemon. But after what I experienced with the Pokemon community, especially my corner of the Pokemon community, I could confidently say that Vanguard treats its community 10 times better than I wanted to fed Vanguard more so. There were a lot of questionable moments. I will definitely say that. You know, especially when it comes to controversies that come up with certain cards and, you know, whether or not shit should be banned or whatnot. And usually around the ban season is when people get heated, but that's to be expected, you know. I don't know what it's like with other card games. I know for Yu-Gi-Oh! They have to sit there and suffer and hope and pray they hit a deck that really needs to get hit. But I can't say for other games like Magic or Pokemon, but I can definitely say at least for Vanguard, Bushiroad at least cares enough about its audience, you know. it slips up here and there. That's without question. Last year was definitely, there are a lot of mishaps, but they at least try to make up for it, and they at least do enough to give the Vanguard community everybody's little escape. And for me personally, a second place to call home. So, what would I realistically want for Vanguard in the future? I really don't know, because to be honest, I'm amazed it's lasted this long. Especially during the pandemic, especially back when Buddy Fight had gotten canceled back last year. A lot of people, much like pretty much there was a lot of negativity and thinking that because Weiss is so anime infested, and and they have, it's basically the anime game, that would never die, and it's still going strong to this day. So if between the two Bushiroad card games that they had to go off of, they would have axed this one, and I want this to last at least for another 10 years. I have enjoyed this game basically just from me messing around with stuff online, and to a point where I'm probably one of its biggest advocates. I always try to recommend it to people, even at my college or whatnot, because it's honestly a great community. I'm glad that this is my new place to call home officially, and I'm looking forward to producing more content and just putting myself out there for the Vanguard community. So, with that being said, that is pretty much all the questions that I had to cover. Actually, it's funny because I thought there were like one or two of them that I wasn't gonna be able to answer, but I hit all of them, all the Vanguard ones. I even went a little bit beyond that, and yeah, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to discuss. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.